If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN Prime Time. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We are off and running on a Tuesday evening, the start of the Western Conference Finals and the NBA, and the start of the Eastern Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's Matt Humans. I'm Tim Murray. Plenty of baseball going on right now across Major League Baseball. And here we are, Matt Humans, at the Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas.
Great day to be alive. Great day to be here at the Circus Sportsbook because we do have an NBA playoff game. And we got a little bit more going on in the world of sports than we had last night. We didn't have a whole lot going on last night, but it's going to be great that the NBA Final Four starts tonight with OKC in Minnesota. And then we get the Pacers and Knicks tomorrow night. Paul Bovey, professional sports bettor, will join us in hour number 2. He's in New York. He's going to preview Pacers.
You going to the game?
I believe he is going to the game.
Wow.
Paul's one of those guys. He's independently wealthy. He can do whatever he wants. Travels the world. He's a Knicks super fan since way back. If he wants to go to a Knicks game, he's going to go to a Knicks game.
He's going to hang out with Ben Stiller there courtside. Paul Bovey will join us as we show you the guest list. We'll talk to Adam Burke coming up in less than 15 minutes as we take a look at today's baseball slate. We will talk to Rick Kamala as he'll give us a preview on the NBA playoffs. Paul Bovey, as mentioned, and then we'll go behind the counter. Matt Grill from DraftKings Sportsbook will join us in hour number 2 as DraftKings, Matt, by the way, has put up all 136 win totals for college football and week 0 and week 1 lines, as we are now 100 days away, Matt Humans, from the start of week 1 of the college football season. So a whole lot to get to tonight. But, Matt, it is pretty clear what our game of the night is. That would be Minnesota visiting the Oklahoma City Thunder. So let's get to it. Our VSiN Primetime game of the night.
The lights are on and the stakes are high. It's the primetime game of the night.
Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder, a 7-point favorite against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Matt, this is a game in which we've seen the total go way up. DraftKings opened this at 214, and right now, market-wide, Matt, it sits at 219. Circa opened up 213.5 for this total. As for the spread, hasn't moved all that much. We got to 7.5, hung out there for a good bit of time. There were some 6.5s in the market earlier today, but right now, as we are about an hour and a half away from tip time in Oklahoma City, market sits at OKC -7, total 219. Of course, the Thunder playing a Game 7 just 48 hours ago against the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, these teams obviously met 4 times this season. All 4 meetings had 217 or more points, so I would agree with the move over the total, especially, Tim, early in the series, you tend to see the teams playing a little bit looser, more of an open court type of game, and then it gradually gets tighter and tighter during the series to where you have more half-court offense, but I'm not surprised the market moved to the over tonight. Evan Abrams on Twitter put this trend out there. In the last 20 years, this would just be the second Game 1 where a team on short rest, that's 2 days or less, is this big of a favorite, -7 or more, versus a team on extended rest, that's the T-Wolves with 4 days or more. The other time, 2008, and this is funny, get this, 2008, the Celtics on short rest were 10-point favorites against the Cavs. Boston won the game, but did not cover, Tim. The score was 76-72. What? I saw that today. I was like, that wasn't the third quarter score?
Wow.
That was the final score. 2008, Celtics beat the Cavs 76 72. How ugly must that have been?
Man. Feels like that was an early 90s type of game there.
With the Knicks and the Heat?
Yeah. But that was a second-round series back in 2008, and Boston would go on to win that series by a final by 4-3, Matt. So,
that was the Celtics team with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett.
That was the big three.
Yep, the Cavs team with LeBron James.
Yep. So 2008, little history there. Oh, it's like a little history. So Oklahoma City and Minnesota right now, if you look over at our betting splits, Matt, at DraftKings, 63% of the bets on the Minnesota Timberwolves. So a little love for the puppy in this one. 58% of the handle, 79% of bets, Matt, on the over, 83% of the handle on the over. And if you look at Circa's splits, 53% of bets on the Timberwolves, but more money on the Thunder, 63% of the bets. Of the handle on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'm not surprised. I thought pretty good bet that the OKC side would draw 60% plus of the money tonight. I thought 65% or more of the money tonight. Typically, the home favorite is going to draw more public action. And I'm always a little bit hesitant to jump in on game ones of a series. Tim, a lot of times I feel like you're better starting to bet game two. You know, it's a form of the zigzag theory. But again, a lot of times I feel like you're guessing more at game one of the series. Guessing a little bit more what you expect to see and what you're betting. And you have a little bit more data, more angles, more things to go on when you start to bet the series in game two. Now, that said, I'm not taking the 7 or 7.5 tonight with the T-Wolves, but I will look to bet the T-Wolves live. This is a live betting show. We're going to be on for the next 4 hours. During this game, it's going to be a series of runs. You could say that about a lot of NBA matchups, but I really believe the T-Wolves and the Thunder are going to see big runs on both sides. When the Thunder make a big run, get a big lead, I think there's going to be an opportunity here to grab the T-Wolves. Who knows? Plus 10.5, plus 12.5, maybe even more. So I'll probably look to bet the T-Wolves live tonight. I'm not going to bet this pregame. I do agree with the market move over the total.
When you look at the series price, minus 340 is where Oklahoma City sits at DraftKings, plus 270 for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, game one of the Western Conference Finals tonight, Oklahoma City and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Of course, the T-Wolves were in the Western Conference Finals just a year ago, Matt, and they were knocked off by the Dallas Mavericks. So, right now, a 7-point spread. It is worth noting, if you look back at the Oklahoma City-Denver series, OKC game one, 10.5-point favorite at home, Matt. Lost that game, 121-119. Denver, of course, on short rest in that series, in that game, I should say, as they were coming off the Game 7 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. Game 2, OKC went off as a 10-point favorite. Game 5 in OKC went off as a 10.5-point favorite. One didn't cover, and then Game 7 went off as an 8.5-point favorite against the Denver Nuggets. They went on to win and cover that number. So 2-2 ATS last series, Matt, at home. But it is worth noting, and we talked about this briefly yesterday, it does feel like there's a little bit of a market correction due to the short rest here from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because if I asked you on a neutral court, is Minnesota 3 points better or 3.5 points better than Denver? I don't think you would say that they are.
No, but I thought the numbers were inflated in the Denver series.
Sure.
And that's why I was on the Nuggets, and the Nuggets covered what? How many of those games? 4 or 5 of the 7 games.
They were 5-2 ATS, 2-2.
Blown out twice.
Yeah, 2-2
right.
in Oklahoma City, and they covered all 3 in Denver.
Well, I thought those numbers were a bit inflated. Now, it's obvious that you have to take each game as a different situation, too. After the Nuggets stole game 1, well, I thought 10.5 was fair in game 2 because you had to expect Thunder action. OKC is going to bounce back. They're not going to lose the first 2 games at home. Also, in Game 7, I didn't like the Nuggets because they were basically playing with 3 guys, and Aaron Gordon limps them with a hamstring injury. So that was not a good spot for them either. But here, I think the number's more realistic with the T-Wolves at 7. You and I talked about this yesterday. If you put this number at 10, I would have bet this pregame. I would have taken 10 with the T-Wolves. I'm not taking 7 or 7.5. So I think the adjustment's right. But again, we talked about this so many times. I don't want to repeat it over and over again like a parrot, but you know what, Tim? It's to your advantage to live bet these games and not not take too big a position pregame most times. And I guarantee it.
Oh, guaranteed.
Tonight, that you will get better than 7 if you just wait and live bet the T-Wolves.
Yeah, and we'll monitor all throughout the show. Look, we talked about it. We were watching last night. We had as many baseball games on as possible, and the game we were most curious about was the Philadelphia Phillies and the Colorado Rockies. Would this ultimately blow up in the face of the Colorado Rockies? They held on to that lead. They were up 2-0, then 2-1, and then sure enough, as soon as we sign off, boom, the Phillies go nuts, and they win that game 9-3. You could have got a pretty juicy plus price on the Philadelphia Phillies. So
up around plus 250, right?
Somewhere in that ballpark throughout the night as we were monitoring. So that always something to keep an eye on there as we will get you up to date from a live betting standpoint. This note from Matt Moore, who was on my show over the weekend, does good stuff over at the Action Network. Home favorites coming off a Game 7 since 2003. 6-15-1 against the spread. In the conference finals, home favorites off a Game 7 are just 1-7 ATS. So the trends are not in the favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, coming off of that Game 7 win on Sunday, and Minnesota off of a long rest there. We'll dive into all of the prop angles and all of that, Matt, as the show goes on. But it is worth noting the Eastern Conference Finals on the ice gets underway here tonight as the Florida Panthers and the Carolina Hurricanes start their series. The Florida Panthers right now a road dog tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes. Florida winning Game 7 on Sunday? Yeah, Sunday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. A laugher as they won that game 6-1. And right now the Panthers around a plus 115 underdog against the Carolina Hurricanes, even though, Matt, they are the series favorite. So worth noting, they're an underdog tonight, but Florida still around a minus 130 favorite in this series.
It's tough to bet against the Florida Panthers. They've been to the last 2 Stanley Cup finals. They got a lot of experience here, so I certainly respect the underdog in that matchup tonight and in this series.
5.5 is the total, juiced under at minus $1.20. We'll talk much more on the Western and Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA bottom of the hour. But up next, we talk to Adam Burke and preview tonight's slate in Major League Baseball.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Keep it rolling here on VSiN PrimeTime. Baseball games underway. We're waiting for the start of the Western Conference Finals and the NBA coming up at 8:30 Eastern. The Eastern Conference Finals and the NHL get started a little after 8 o'clock Eastern as well. That's Matt Humans. I'm Tim Murray. Mr. Humans, before we get to Adam Burke on our progressive guest line, you have something to add?
Well, yeah, because Adam Burke took a phone call during the break, and it sounded like a Progressive insurance agent, so I thought that would be a good transition to the progressive guest line. Adam, was that the case?
No comment on that. Okay. No comment.
All right, let's get into the card tonight now. Most of your bets that you wrote up for VSiN.com are already underway today, so we'll bounce around a little bit, and I am curious your thoughts on your Cleveland Guardians. They get underway against Minnesota coming up at 7:40 Eastern time. Minnesota saw their 13-game winning streak finally come to a close over the weekend, and the Guardians, as I don't have to remind you, did not fare all that well against the Cincinnati Reds. So a short dog for Cleveland on the road today against Minnesota with a total of 7.
Yeah, so this game actually got rained out. That was a big thing here for this series in Minnesota, where they were talking about rain every single day. And interestingly enough, tomorrow they're going to play or try to resume a suspended game from Monday night and play something of a doubleheader or game and a half, something like that, which is a little bit problematic, I think, for a team like Cleveland right now to have to stack some of these games up together because, offensively, they're not getting a whole lot. The starting pitching is kind of falling apart little by little here. And then, of course, the bullpen that got worked so much last season. Some of those guys, Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis specifically, they don't look quite as sharp. So I'm getting concerned about Cleveland. I still don't think Minnesota is very good. Honestly, at this point, I think the likeliest outcome is that Detroit has the possibility to run and hide a little bit here. I still don't think the Royals are very good. Offensively, they're really bad outside of Bobby Witt Jr. And I think that, even though Chris Bubich is having his breakout season, I don't know that Seth Lugo is going to stay intact, that Michael Wacha is going to stay intact. The Tigers look like, very clearly like the team to beat. And if they get some offensive help at the trade deadline, that's a team nobody wants to face in October.
Tigers' best record in baseball, and did take a loss last night. Tim, you want to try it again with a game that's actually being played tonight, or you want me to
I'm mad at my board. The board didn't say it. Usually the board puts like a red line through it. I guess I got to go over to ESPN.com to keep me updated on that. All right, how about the Brewers and the Orioles? The Orioles stink. Their GM today came out and said, I didn't have time to talk to the media here. So things are going swimmingly well for the Baltimore Orioles. They can't rain this game out because it's in a retractable dome, so I am safe there. We've got Milwaukee and Baltimore coming up in a little bit. Any thoughts on this as the Brewers a slight home favorite against the dreadful Orioles?
Yeah, this is a game where the line kind of perplexed me a little bit because Logan Henderson's looked really, really good in his first two starts for Milwaukee. It seems like maybe they've found, another starting pitcher, within the system. I mean, they're very good at doing this. They're good at finding average types of starters, plugging them into the rotation, maximizing their arsenals a little bit. And this is a guy that, I saw him face Cleveland not that long ago, and the raw stuff is pretty decent. I know it doesn't grade super well from an analytics standpoint, but he's really, really good at sequencing his pitches, kind of pitching backwards at times. He can be a tough guy to hit. That said, he has given up some hard contact here. And I think that's the reason why this line was so short in favor of Milwaukee, because you look at the Baltimore situation here, Keegan Aiken's going to start this game, and then Chase McDermott is probably going to be the bulk guy for them. And that means it's basically a bullpen game. McDermott is not a guy that you want to have out there for very long. So makes this a really tricky handicap where the vibes are not good with Baltimore right now. Obviously they fired their manager, Brandon Hyde. Mike Elias, the guy who's kind of running things here, there was a lot of talk about him in the, spring training portion of the baseball season here. And some of the questions about, the spending, the development, all these different types of things. The Orioles are in really bad shape, which is a shame because offensively they should be much better than they are. I'm still waiting for this team to get it going, and I think that they will to some degree at some point. But I bet on them a couple days ago or last night, actually, to kind of right the ship here. They couldn't do it again. They're a stay away team for me right now until they figure something out and start looking like the team that we all expected them to be.
Adam Burke, VSiN.com with us. How about Phillies and Rockies? And last night, Phillies big comeback, and they covered on the runs line. At one point, they were live about plus 250. Jose Luzardo, the starter tonight, minus 265 here at Circa, about a $3 favorite of the DraftKings. Antonio Senzatella is the starter for Colorado, total of 11. Did you play this game, or how would you play it if you did?
Didn't play it, but I mean, this is, another one of those situations where it's basically the opposition run line or nothing against Colorado. I mean, Jesus Luzardo, 2 ERA, 3.20 expected ERA, 2.36 FIP, a lot of strikeouts, not a lot of walks, keeps the ball in the ballpark really efficiently and really effectively. He's a very, very good starting pitcher. And there are some guys out there that can kind of navigate Coors Field a little bit because they get a lot of strikeouts or because they're high ground ball guys, something like that. And Luzardo's a guy that gets the strikeouts, limits a lot of hard contact in the air. He's not going to be phased all that much, I don't think, by Coors Field. Whereas Antonio Senzatella, while he's a bit of a ground ball guy, he misses no bats whatsoever. And so it's very, very hard to be a pitcher like that at Coors Field when you don't get the extra margin for error. You don't get that level of swing and miss. It's just getting kind of crazy. The prices you have to lay on teams now, minus 1.5 against this Rockies team. I'd be more inclined to start laying 2.5s and just take a little bit, off of the juice there. But not a game that I played. But again, I think it's just going to be a broken record type of day for the Rockies where they lose by more than one run.
All right. How about the D-backs and the Dodgers, who have lost 4 in a row? They were swept by the Angels in a 3-game series over the weekend. and then got pounded by the D-backs last night. Now, you would think Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to be the guy to stop the streak, but he's a big favorite, minus 230, total of 9 or 9.5 at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, this is a deserving favorite price. Even though Arizona's a team that has a really, really good offense, Yamamoto has been terrific here so far this season, and I don't see anything in the profile that suggests to me that he can't really keep up this pace. I mean, an 82% left on base percentage is a little bit high, but he's a guy who induces a 61% ground ball rate, well over a strikeout per inning. You can be an outlier in some of the important metrics like batting average on balls in play, like left on base percentage, that really dictate what a guy's ERA looks like. You can be an outlier with those type of numbers. So Yamamoto is a guy that I think could just kind of continue this. He may get knocked around 1 or 2 times at some point, but I think he'll be able to continue it. Ryan Nelson's the interesting one to me. 5.13 ERA, 3.90 expected ERA, 3.71 FIP. I lean towards the under in this game, and it may be a late addition for me here because you are getting even money or better on the under 9. Nelson's a guy who the under the hood stuff looks better than the ERA does. So I think he's a guy that is a bit of a positive regression candidate, a guy that maybe we want to play on in this Arizona rotation where it's all big names around him. So we may get a little bit of value on the price with him because there's just not a whole lot of name recognition for a guy like Ryan Nelson.
Adam Burke once again joining us here, courtesy of our progressive guests. I know you have thoughts on the ice tonight. I did want to slip in one quick game here as we have Tarek Skubal on the hill against Eric Fetty, and Skubal a minus $1.70 favorite. He and the Tigers against one of the hottest teams in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm not a big Eric Fetty guy. I mean, I realize that the numbers tend to look pretty good, but you look at him this year, 3.44 ERA, expected ERA up around 5. And the Tigers have been really, really good offensively, quite surprising. I mean, even Javier Baez is hitting for them, which we haven't seen in several years. So this has been a really good offense against righties. An offense that I think you've got a lot of young guys that are kind of coming together. Gleyber Torres gives you a professional plate appearance just about every time he comes up. So they could very well be the team to deal some of that regression for Fetty. And if that's the case, I want no part of going against Tarek Skubal here. So I think this is another deserving favorite line. And again, it's just hard for me to wrap my head around the Tigers being this good because it's been a long time since they have been.
All right, before we let you run, Adam Burke joining us here. Adam, we got game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. Carolina, around $1.25 favorite, total 5.5 juiced under, juice varying at different shops. What are you looking at tonight between Florida and the Hurricanes?
Yeah, I like Carolina here in game 1. So also, when I talked about this on Money Moves or talked about it off air with Stormy, one of the two, where Florida's favored for the series right now, I don't mind taking a position on Carolina for the series because I think they win tonight. I think they win game 1. Then you can play back on the Panthers at plus money heading into game 2 if you want to. But I mean, this is a Carolina team. They've had 53% of the high danger chances at 5-on-5 here in the postseason, but they only have like 4 goals in those high danger chances situations. So this is a team that honestly, offensively, is probably going to get a little bit better here as the playoffs go along. Their high danger shooting percentage is 6.9%. Nobody else in the league is lower than 11.6% here in the postseason. So Carolina has not been rewarded for the high danger chances that they've been able to generate. And I think that they could very well be rewarded here in this one against a Panthers team that's got to be a little bit tired after beating the Leafs in 7, digging out of a 2-0 hole, winning 4 of 5 there to end that series. Carolina's well rested. I think they get the game 1 win.
He's Adam Burke at Skating Tripods on social media. Read his work over at VSiN.com. Adam, always appreciate it, man.
Have a good one, guys.
There he is. Adam Burke. We'll talk some NBA with Rick Kamala. We'll do that next right here on VSiN Primetime.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Keep it rolling here on a Tuesday night, a busy night ahead as we have the Eastern Conference Finals on the ice getting going between the Panthers and the Hurricanes. The Western Conference Finals in the NBA, Matt Newman, starts at 8:30 Eastern time as the Oklahoma City Thunder around a 7-point favorite. Quick update from the nation's capital as Spencer Strider is back from the DL or the IL, and things off to a great start. He's given up a homer, 4 runs already in the top of the third, but the Braves and Matt Olson hit a 3-run shot in the top of the second, so it's 4-3 Nationals over the Braves. We'll get you all updated on the baseball coming up in just a minute, but let's head back to our progressive guest line, Matt, and welcome in Rick Kamala, who joins us right now. Ethos Sports is his site, and you can follow him on Twitter at Rick Kamala Sports. Rick, when you look at tonight, we have the situation where the Oklahoma City Thunder played a Game 7 on Sunday, and now 48 hours later, they're back on the court to take on a well-rested Minnesota team. Do you anticipate, when you look at the side tonight at 7, this Minnesota team to be feisty against the Thunder this evening?
I do, but the Game 1 that Minnesota had against Golden State was kind of alarming. It was a home game. This is a road game, and frankly, they've been better on the road than they have been at home in these playoffs so far. So I like to look, our teams closing other teams out. How are they doing in Game 1s? How are they doing with the series tied at 1-1? Because a lot of patterns, duplicate and continue themselves. I think the Wolves are very, very live tonight. I do like them plus the 7. Is it rest related? Not really. I just think this is going to be a game on series that goes 7 games. I really don't understand. If I could just issue and file a quick complaint here with the league, my beloved NBA, why and how do New York and Indiana not play until Wednesday when they've been off for 3 weeks, but OKC has to come off a 7-gamer, a bloodbath with Denver. They have 1 day off, and bam, they're right back in it against Minnesota. It makes no sense to me at all. I don't know, guys. I don't like giving players and teams outs with rest and load management and the rest versus rust debate. To me, it's the playoffs. You should go out there and kick ass and take names no matter what. So I don't know if you guys have ascertained that it's an angle. I just think Minnesota is at a real nose-to-nose level with OKC, and I think they're going to battle them tonight and cover the spread.
Yeah, I thought that was odd, too. I really expected the Knicks-Pacers series to be the one tonight, and the OKC Thunder get an extra day of rest. Not the case. Rick, when you watched the Thunder in that 7-game series with the Nuggets, who essentially played with 3 guys, and Aaron Gordon limped in game 7 with a hamstring injury, were you less impressed with OKC? Is there a difference between the OKC team and the regular season that had such impressive numbers and the style of play in the playoffs that makes you a little bit more concerned for OKC moving forward?
No concerns for OKC, but I like where your head is at because in the regular season, they faced the fewest clutch games of any team in the NBA. They housed everybody. They won 68 games. Most of those games were laughers, okay? So that was a question coming into the playoffs. How are they going to do in clutch games? Guys, you saw it. I saw it. The world saw it. They passed all those tests against Denver. Did they lose 3 games? Yes. But they beat a team with championship DNA. They don't have championship DNA. Caruso does. And look, you accumulate championship DNA on your way to winning the championship. Boston did for many, many years. Pop, they finally broke through. And so OKC's doing that right now. And I still think they're going to win this gold ball. I really do. They're the best team in basketball, but I believe they are going to have to go 7 with Minnesota. I loved how SGA responded. A lot of criticism. The talking heads were banging on him. He had 3 straight magnificent games. 5, 6, and 7. You lost game 6, but who cares? You ended up winning the series. So I've loved what I've seen. They're playing with nails, with stones, like they've been here before, like they learned from losing in the second round last year to Dallas. It's been very impressive. They're the youngest team in the NBA. They're doing historical, unprecedented stuff. And but guys, the bottom line, they're the best team in basketball. Okay, they're number 1 in this, number 1 in that, number 1 in this, number 1 in that. Shooting, length, defense, coaching, love fest, home court advantage. My God, they've got the second best player in the league. So they got a lot of bases covered, and they've got more weapons and more dudes than Minnesota, and that's ultimately going to be the difference.
Mm-hmm. Rick Kamala joining us here, courtesy of our progressive guest line. I want to get some thoughts on the Eastern Conference here in just a bit, but you are a gentleman who dabbles in those props. I know you love your fantasy hoops, so anyone tonight from a prop standpoint, you are either backing or maybe fading a little bit, Rick?
SGA and Ant-Man. Yeah, I'm going to fade them.
Okay.
SGA's been on a roll, but he had to kind of get it going as that series was going along. You're going to have Jaden McDaniels to put on SGA. You're going to have Ant-Man to put on SGA. You're going to have double teams to throw at SGA. So I want to see how that looks. To me, it's not in the regular season, SGA was, since maybe, I don't know, Jordan, maybe Kobe, the biggest lock for 30 I've ever seen. My God, every game SGA scores 30. This is the playoffs. Those rules don't apply anymore. You're not playing, bad teams. You're playing nothing but really good teams. So I got to fade SGA. And then for Ant-Man, how serious does he take this game? Does he need to lose a game and then get mad and get serious? Or does he have that sort of Jordan and Kobe, I am an absolute serial killer approach to this game? Because if Ant-Man channels that for 4 games, they're going to win this series. But he's too fleeting with it. He's 23, kind of messes and toggles with the on-off switch on that, where you should just turn it on and leave it on. He hasn't figured that out yet. I'm not mad at him about that. But that's why I'm going to fade Ant-Man tonight, is because it's not a guarantee that he's going to just soar for 30, okay? He may have one of these sort of blend in, let the defense dictate to him what he's going to do games, and have 23 or have 24. So I'm going to fade them both. I think you said it, guys. It's going to be a meat grinder series. You have 2 elite defenses, and I think that's going to drive the scoring down.
All right. Great way to describe Anthony Edwards, by the way. I like that. Let's go to Indiana, New York. Do you think this is going to be a grinder series? Is it going to be a long series? Let's put it that way. You can bet over 5.5 games at minus 170. Knicks 4.5 point favorites in game 1. Total 224.5, 225. So a higher total in the Eastern Conference game 1.
What I can tell you is I will take the over on 5.5. When I get off the air with you guys, I'm going to investigate how I can monetize that and invest in that, because I'm at minus 170. Okay, yeah, I'll play that. I'm not sure if Hard Rock Bet down here in Florida offers that. They're a little limited, guys. They've got like the mainstream stuff, right? Point spreads and live betting and prop bets, but I don't know if they've got how many games a series is going to go. That may be a little bit too exotic for Hard Rock Bet, but I'm going to investigate. Guys, the series is going 7. Both of these series are going 7. They're super evenly matched. And like for New York and Indiana, they met in the second round last year. Okay, so check it out, guys. Is Indiana really going to beat New York 2 playoff series in a row? I don't think so. And you think about Game 7. Game 7 will be back in Madison Square Garden if they go 7. Okay. Is Indiana going to shoot 70% or whatever it was in that Game 7 last year? Is like the most historical Game 7 offensive performance in NBA history. That's not happening again, guys. Brunson broke his hand in that Game 7. That's not happening again, guys. So I think Hallie's going to be great. Brunson's going to be great. The most important player in the series is Karl Anthony Towns. Don't be lame, dude. Like you were in the West Finals last year against Dallas when you were a Minnesota Timberwolves. Don't be lame. Don't get in foul trouble. You have a bad shooting night, but go give me 17 boards, okay? So Cat can't be in foul trouble. He can't have that, oh my God, everything's going against me look on his face, right? He's got to be a savage in this series. But I think he's going to carry his water, and I think Brunson's going to be absolutely spectacular and as clutch as we're used to him being. And they're going to win Game 7, guys, and they're going to go back to the NBA Finals.
Well, if you want to bet the Knicks in 7, Rick, you can get the DraftKings Knicks in 7 at 4-1 odds plus 400. Tim might be able to help you out if you need somebody to get that bet in for you.
How am I betting? I live in Nevada. How am I going to get it in? You got to know people. Rick knows people too.
I know what he's saying about that book in South Florida. I've heard the same things. Very limited options. So you need a friend who can help you out.
It's kind of limited. Yeah. But I can bet now. Okay, I can legally bet now. That wasn't the case, a year ago or 2 years ago. It's frustrating. All my buddies are betting on all these games. I'm like, I don't have a bookie. I'm on the sideline. Oh, well.
Hey, Rick, before we let you run, you think Knicks win in 7. What do you see tomorrow night with a 4.5 point spread with the Knicks and the Pacers?
Golly, it's kind of an I don't know. I'm going to live bet this one. Going in, I'll say Pacers, because the Knicks have been so weird at home. They just have. And Indiana, I don't know, guys. Like, I'll take the points, because to me it's a coin flip. If you said this was an even point spread, I'd be like, okay, I get it, but I kind of don't, because there's home court advantage built in here. But I'll take Indiana plus the points. But it's a really flimsy answer to your question, Tim. It's essentially an I don't know. It's a gauge as the game goes along kind of thing for me. And so I'm going to diagnose that moment of truth in that bad boy and try to monetize it.
Well, let's just get over 5.5 games, and then we'll all be happy with that one. Hey, Rick, always appreciate the insight. We'll be calling you on you, no doubt, as the playoffs go on.
Appreciate it, guys. Be well.
There he is, Rick Kamala, at Rick Kamala Sports. Ethos Sports is where you can find his content. All right, we got a lot to get to. Update the baseball action. We got a game 1 starting in less than a half hour on the ice.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It is VSiN Primetime here on this Tuesday evening. Always great to catch up with Rick Kamala, get his thoughts on the 2 NBA playoff series. One starting tonight in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Right now, that point spread sits at 7 in favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Total has been on the move since open, 213.5 out to 219 is where we sit right now. That's Matt Humans. I'm Tim Murray. Matt, one of the games we have on in studio, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Mets. Walker Buehler, if you had any props on him tonight, well, hopefully they were under, because he has been ejected from the game in the second inning, and that led to Alex Cora not being too pleased that his starting pitcher was tossed, and he also got tossed from the game. So no score between the Mets and the Red Sox, and Walker Buehler, his day is done as he has been tossed from the game.
Hey, you don't see those type of eruptions from Walker Buehler too often. But I guess we could call this a Buehler's day off.
Hey-oh.
Huh?
Nice. Did anyone just come to you?
Yeah.
I think he's been thrown out 9 times.
Has he really? No way.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
That's from the movie.
Come on.
I forgot the line from the movie. That movie was a long time ago, Tim. I can remember lines from Caddyshack and, movies, Bad News Bears, things like that. Don't remember a lot of Ferris Bueller's Day Off lines. But
they went to a Cubs game.
That's right. He did.
Yeah.
Cubs probably lost back then.
It was the 80s, so yeah, probably.
Buehler was an underdog tonight, about plus 120, 125 in that range. Scoreless in the top of the third. At Fenway, after the Red Sox won the season opener, they caught the Mets in that spot where they played Sunday Night Baseball, the big hype series against the Yankees. And Red Sox take the series opener. Jaron Duran at the plate right now. I believe, wasn't he the MVP of the All-Star game last season?
Ooh. Yeah, I think so.
Duran for the Red Sox?
Yeah.
I think Duran was MVP of the All-Star game. That's how little the All-Star game actually stands out in my memory now. I can't remember much about it, but I thought he was the MVP.
You are right. Good memory.
Right?
Yes. Jaron Duran was your 2024 Ted Williams MVP.
Wow.
Yeah.
Juan Soto, did you see the play last night? We were in here. I don't know if we caught it. I don't think you saw it live. I saw it after we left the studio.
I saw it afterwards, yeah.
Okay, Juan Soto hit a shot that he thought was a home run over the Green Monster. Well, the wind was a pretty stiff wind blowing in last night. It hits about 2/3 of the way up the wall. And Soto, who was admiring his shot out of the batter's box, not running, got a single off the wall. And, of course, the New York media pressed the manager about Juan Soto's lack of hustle and pressed Soto about his lack of hustle. And Soto said, I thought if you looked, I was running pretty hard out of the box, And that's one thing about Soto when he played for the Yankees I never liked. He was a little bit on the lazy side. He did a great job for the Yankees in general last year. But I think the Mets, now that Soto's off to a slow start, some of the Mets fans, Tim, are starting to see some of the flaws in Juan Soto. He's not highly motivated. He doesn't hustle all the time. And that showed up again last night at Fenway Park when he hits a single off the wall and basically just trots to first base.
The New York Daily News back page, or New York Post, back page, Juan Slow-Mo was the headline there. Soto fails to bust it out of the box again.
He did that Sunday night. Were you watching the Mets-Yankees game Sunday night?
I had it on one of the screens, yes.
He hit a ground ball to second base. It was not an easy play for the second baseman. Soto just trotted down the first base line, and actually the throw only beat him by a step. If he was busting ass down the first base line, he probably could have beat the play. And he did. And, man, you're making $765 million. I guess you can give people the middle finger and you can do whatever you want. But the media and the fans are going to be all over this guy's butt if he doesn't give more effort. You're in the first year of this 15-year deal that's paying $765 million. It's a little bit too soon to be lazy.
We do have the post-game comments, if you'd like to hear them, from Carlos Mendoza, the manager of the New York Mets, regarding his superstars' lack of hustle last night.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk to him about it. Tonight, obviously, someone gets a hold of one and knows when he gets it, he's won, And he thought he had it, but with the win and all that. And in this ballpark, or anywhere, but in particular in this one, with that wall right there, you got to get out of the box. So, we'll discuss that.
Last couple of nights, you've had a couple of plays where you were slow getting out of the box. Is that something you have to be more aware of?
No. I think hustling very hard. If you see it today, you could tell.
I didn't think he was hustling pretty hard, and I was watching and I couldn't tell. So what do you think? Defiant in his answer there? Well, first of all, that comment about Juan thought he had it. That ball hit 2/3 of the way up the wall. It wasn't even close. Does he know the wind's blowing in?
I love it. I love it. It's hilarious to see New York getting all bent out of shape after.
It's early. It was
year 1 of 15.
Is the honeymoon over? A 15-year, $765 million contract, and the guy's lazy 2 months into the season.
Look, I love every bit of this. Number one, won me a World Series in Washington. Yeah. He was amazing. In that 2019 season, he was as clutch as it came in the postseason, hit big home runs against the Dodgers and the Houston Astros. And then he got traded and has helped try to rebuild this franchise with the haul that they got from the San Diego Padres.
Right.
And now here he is in New York, year 1 of a $765 million contract.
I would even say, as a Yankees fan, I thought he did, like you said,
he was very good last year.
A great job for the Yankees last year. Now, he is a defensive liability. And it does annoy me that he's lazy sometimes. And I saw that with the Yankees, too. And the Mets fans are seeing that now. So it's going to be a bit of a problem, especially when you're off to a slow start. He's lucky the Mets are winning right now, so it kind of gets swept under the rug.
Yeah, but New York is certainly one media market that will keep you to task, so to speak. 29-19 are the Mets. It's a scoreless game right now. Walker Buehler was not pleased by Francisco Lindor. He believed he leaned into a pitch, and then after he stole second base, I believe that's when the words came out from Walker Buehler. So he was ejected, as was Alex Cora. Scoreless, bottom of the third. Boston and the New York Mets. We get the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers later on tonight, as the D-backs winning the series opener 9-5 last night. Matt, on the ice tonight, we talked a little bit about this with Adam Burke. Game 1 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. We've seen a little bit of over money hit the market here at Circa, Matt, as this just got dinged down to 5.5, juiced under -115. It was as high as -135 earlier this morning and has now moved 20 cents to the over. So right now, 5.5, -105 to the over, -115 to the under, Matt, for this one. And we've seen some Carolina money come into the market. I took a little shot on the Carolina Hurricanes. I know Adam said he liked the Canes as well. And I thought Adam had an interesting angle, is if the Carolina Hurricanes do win tonight, where they're favored to do so, could be a good opportunity to go in on the Florida Panthers at a plus price. Panthers series favorites right now around a minus $130, but they're an underdog tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes, who have definitely got the rest advantage going into this game tonight in Raleigh.
I'm going to tell you, I could barely sleep last night. I was so excited about this game. I was just thinking about game one of this series, and
you almost watched Ferris Bueller. You were so excited.
It was hard to get to sleep at all. I'm not lucky if I slept an hour. I'm so jacked up for this Carolina-Florida Panthers series. Our buddy Ian Cameron, the Canadian kid, he's a very sharp hockey handicapper. Here's what he put out on tonight's game. You ready? Carolina minus 125. Carolina team total over 2.5 at minus 145. Carolina team total over 3 at plus 110. Florida, Carolina over 1.5 in the first period at plus 115. Florida, Carolina over 5.5 plus 115 for the game. And Carolina to win game one and Florida to win the series at plus 325. Do you think he has enough plays on tonight's game?
Yeah, Ian, you can never tell Ian that he doesn't put out enough plays because he puts out a bunch.
By the way, he's also got like 10 player props. So that's not all. I don't have time. We don't have time to read all the player props.
You said you couldn't sleep last night. I thought it was because of this deal that Derek Stevens is giving out to people. $400, Matt. It's called the All-In Vacation at Circa. $400, you get a 2-night stay, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, and your very own day bed at Stadium Swim. $400, resort fees and taxes included. This limited time offer is valid for stays between May 26th and September 4th. So don't miss out. Lock in your all-in summer package now at circalasvegas.com. Matt, we're going to head to New York City. Not me and you. We're going to call someone in New York City. Paul Bovey, professional handicapper.
Paul is getting out of the swimming pool right now to talk to us. He'll be dripping wet when he breaks down the Pacers and the Knicks.
It's warm enough in New York City to go swimming?
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.